everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And this week, we have Olathia in the house. Woo. That's right, Chrissy.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Singer, lead vocalist. It's kind of your band in some ways, isn't it? In some ways, I mean, you're kind of like the leader of the whole thing in a way. I mean, I think when people look at the band, they look at her as she's definitely the head. And if everybody should remember from Bessemer Saints, Terry Johnson, the Bull, he plays bass in this band, plays drums in Bessemer Saints, but in this band he plays the bass.
That's it.
And if you watched the Bessemer Saints thing, you would have known that because we brought it up in that episode.
We sure did, and I'm so glad we get a chance to bring Chrissy on. We had a couple of alludes to what was going on in the background, but now getting a chance to chat about what we've got cooking is
you guys
wonderful to be back again.
Yeah, you guys got the new EP out, which is super cool because it's like a dedication to the Sabotage thing. It's and you guys really allude to the whole Hall of the Mountain King album.
We did 2 tracks. We did Hall of the Mountain King, and we specifically did our version based on their live 1987 version that they played in Cleveland at the Agora. So it's got a lot of energy, a lot of extra guitar, and it's super fun. And then, because we love the light and the dark, we did a different take on Believe.
Oh, that's what it is. So you guys just kind of chilled it out a little bit. Because the Hall of the Mountain King is no easy task to pull off. Really, any of that Sabotage stuff it was all pretty, that was the start of, a lot of that stuff went on to be Trans-Siberian Orchestra and all these things. I mean, these guys are known to put these elaborate arrangements together, stuff like that. It's always been that way with them. And you guys nail it. You nailed it. You know what I mean? I mean, like that tune, to me, that tune sounds like, I'm like, wow, man. I'd really like to see somebody else try to pull that off and do what you guys did, honestly.
Thank you. And what's even cooler is because we wanted to channel the live version, we recorded that live.
That's awesome.
And
oh, really?
We did. I mean, Dylan is the one-man guitar show, so he did have to go back and do some of the rhythm tracks.
Overdubs and stuff.
Right, because you can only play one part at once. Yeah, shredding on the lead.
He'd be really good to do that. So, wow.
But no, we did it live because that was the whole idea. We wanted to just channel the Sabotage from Cleveland. And we got to say Cleveland in it too, just like they did, because we're Cleveland, Oh,
yeah, at the break?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
Really cool.
And we had a really cool party there at the studio. We had a bunch of our pals that were there that got in on the haze. We had a lot of folks that were in the building when Sabotage did that track in '87.
Really?
Getting a chance to kick in for us.
Yeah.
How'd you guys pull that all off? How'd that all happen?
Well, Mercenary Studios and Noah Buchanan.
Noah, this guy's brought up as constant.
Well, he is the metal musical gift to Cleveland. And he just has visions. He knows how to bring things together. He's efficient. He's fun as hell to work with. And he brings out the best in people. So, we just did it with Noah, and he's always been our guy, and he's so talented, and we're thankful to work for it with him.
We got to get him on the show.
You do.
We got to get this guy on the show, right? How many people have said they've worked with this guy now? 5 or 6 people, probably. And when we had Ed Stevens on here, Eddie's like, oh, he's the magician. He's the magician, dude. He's the magician, And I'm like, we got to get this guy on. Here he is again.
Yeah, he's more than just an engineer, too. There is a whole producer side to him, and he's a musician as well. And it's very rare that someone is as good as a musician and also that good in the studio, too, and they can have those separate identities and all bring it together.
That's awesome.
And then help others with that. It is awesome.
That is.
He is the man.
And that's great that we have him here. You know what I mean? That's helping out this scene a lot.
Absolutely.
A lot of good music.
Absolutely. Well, and he does Midnight. He does a lot of big people. He does a lot of stuff that people don't even know about. That's really interesting. But he's a good dude.
Let me ask you some stuff about how you get started with this whole thing, right? I mean, like that's the best. Those are the best parts. How does Chrissy become where you're at now? How do you get there? How does music start becoming something that you just want to do?
You love it. There's things in life that just connect with you and just make you feel a certain way. And it was ever since I was a teenager and hearing Metallica for the first time. And I had older sisters that would jam the Led Zeppelin and the Black Sabbath and Angel. I remember this big Angel poster my sister had that was super cool. And I just always connected with it, with just the the power of it and the lyrical content and the fantasy of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in high school, you know, I started taking guitar lessons, and I soon found out I was way better at singing than guitar.
Well, that's this you found out. Didn't waste a lot of time doing one or the other. Because you're a great singer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, you know, I knew I wanted to do original projects. You know, I started with a cover band called Forceful Entry. That was great. And we did a bunch of Black Sabbath and Ronnie James Dio and Melissa Etheridge and all these different things. And we would play the bar circuit.
Wow.
And we had a great time with it. And I did that for many years and really learned a lot, you know, from the guys. And then I wanted to do originals and just started finding projects and meeting people. You know, there is such a variety in Cleveland, even for how long as I've been doing this. And people are out there. You can find them. So I started doing original projects. And the first real one that I got my teeth in was Cellbound. And Cellbound was almost like a Lacuna Coil type band where we had Tom on vocals and I was doing a female part. Oh. And we had dual guitars. And, you know, we had a great, oh God, I think it was like a 12-year run, and played a lot of fun places and would host our own shows at Peabody's and do both stages and loved it. And it got to the point where we all were starting to go different ways. People were having kids and things like that. And we ended on a high note, had a great final party. We're all friends to this day. You couldn't ask for anything better. You know, and as a matter of fact, I remember Noah ran sound for us at our last show.
There he is again.
Because Noah and I go way back. We go way back. And I remember him saying to me, you know, he's like, Chrissy, you guys did it right. You know, you had a great run. You're having a great show today. Like, and I always appreciated his words with that, you know. So it was really fun. So when that project ended, I'm like, I'm not done. I'm a lifer, you know.
Yeah, right.
I'm a lifer.
Well, that's cool. There's just a few of you.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, and it's cool. And I'm like, I want to do a project now where I could be the main vocalist. And then, you know, people started connecting and hitting up, and we've had different versions throughout the years because as it goes, you know, people do things maybe for a little bit and maybe they have kids or they have a different job, whatever it is. There's been wonderful people that we've gotten to be in this band throughout the years, but where it's at now is where it should be and where it is at.
That's awesome.
And I love it. I love the guys, Terry, Joe, and Dylan, and our synergy together, and our writing flows easy, and we have a lot of fucking laughs. So.
Well, that's great. And you know, a vocalist like you too, a female vocalist and stuff, you could probably be more successful not doing heavy metal. But the way the whole scene is set up, I mean, as far as money and getting gigs and stuff like that, pop music and all that stuff, you could go that way. You could. I mean, but would you be happy? I mean, is that what it is? Is it more about you just do this because this is flat out what you're going to do and that's it? I mean,
well,
pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, my heart is in it. I love the creative process. I love being live. Like we could be a heavy metal band with the female and have a lot of backing tracks and stuff, but
yeah.
I
so I mean, you guys
could
are a
never
straight
do
metal
that.
band.
I could
You're a
never
metal
do
band,
that.
right?
And we're all live. We're all real. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I think that's what really sets you guys apart. You present it, you represent it, and then when you're just, I heard you on the Bill Peters interview. It's about a month or so now since then. But you just represent things so well.
Thank you
through
so
this
much.
whole entire music, the scene that's out there, and I think that's awesome. When we were talking about getting you guys on here, it was like I just heard her on Bill Peters, dude. I'm like, she's the real deal, you know, as far because everyone knows he can talk.
That's why I'm tucking it.
Yeah, I mean, like when he was there last time he was there, when we were like, wow, you talk really well. Even Tom, remember Tom was there, and he's like, well, you've heard how he talks. He was so perfectly spoken and everything. Oh. No, but you guys really, I think that's cool. We were just talking about this in between the last interview, how some bands, no matter how good they are, right, no matter how great they sound or whatever, there's a cool factor that some bands have that other bands don't possess. It's a cool factor. You know what I mean? Like you can be a great musician, your band can sound good and everything, but there's just certain bands you go and you see, and they're just fucking cool. Even if they're not the best bands, they can be cool without even being the best band. You'll like them. You'll just be like, I don't know if I like them. They're just cool. You guys are that, right? You guys have that coolness to you, right? There's a certain thing about you guys that's cool. I mean, if you're into heavy metal, you guys are that. That's what you represent.
Wow. Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you. You know, I had one person tell me once, after a show or something. They're like, man, you smile a lot on stage. I'm like, how can I not?
Having a blast.
I go, it is so fun. I get to do this. This is like a pure moment to be here with everybody. And people came here and gave up their time, a couple hours this evening, to be here.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is thrilling. This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, if anybody tells you there's no smiling in heavy metal,
Yeah.
nah, that doesn't work.
Not only that, but when you go to a show and the lead singer is like overbearingly serious, you leave there and you're like, the guy was a douche. I mean, that's what you think to yourself. How'd you like, the singer was kind of a douche. You know, there's not fun about this guy. When you're up there having fun, laughing, and when you're smiling and stuff, you're making eye contact with people. You're smiling with people in the crowd. People pick up on that energy when that's all happening. It changes the game. It makes you cool.
It's
right?
so fun to engage with people.
Hell
it
yeah.
absolutely is. Because I know how I feel when I'm in the crowd.
Yeah, and you guys draw. I mean, when you guys put up a show, there's not that 5 people in the fire just hey,
and I think
golfers clap.
So much of that, it's all related and it's all connected. There is such an authenticity with what you see on stage. It's us. We're talking to you now.
Yeah,
this is us on stage. This is a blast. That's a blast. The writing of the material is not coming from something disconnected. It's coming from personal experience. It's coming through matching storytelling with vibe and tone. And like you mentioned, we're a metal band. We don't need a box. We don't need power metal or thrash metal. We have whatever is coming out of us in real time to get through a story. And that's what we get to do on stage in front of people in real time. What's better?
Nothing. You're right, man. Nothing is better than that. It's what you guys are doing to me is the ultimate. Like if I was to get back into music, I don't think I would ever do it again unless it was metal. Period. I've done the classic rock and done this and that, and believe me, it's all fun. I mean, if you're up there, what the guy from Brute Squad said? He says, "If I got the bass in my hand, I'm having fun." Period. So you're having fun, but if you're playing the music you love, well, then that's 10 times more fun. I don't think I would do it any other way, which is what you guys are doing.
And it's fun, too, to make a show an experience for people, too. There's a lot of thought that goes into it, you know, from our merch or how we want to structure the set or, you know, is there a surprise that we want to do that evening? So, you know, that's really, really fun, too, to do.
So you guys plan things. I just watched the video for Hall of the Mountain King, and it's very dreamy. It's got that, like, you know, you got that when you guys are moving, you guys have the
yeah, like acid trip.
Fuck yeah, exactly what it's like. It's just like you're tripping, and the whole video is shot like that.
Yeah.
Everything is. You know, like when they got you pictures of you, I don't think you see your face in the whole thing. It's just like you're constantly banging your head, and there's just
the video's better like that.
Yeah. But yeah, there's trails everywhere. There's trails everywhere. It's like someone just did a head of acid and was like, "Fuck it, man, let's go."
Are we metal?
But it's so cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and while there is a like concentrated effort and thought going into it, it's also loose too, because you always let the organic in, and things are never done till it's done. Who cares whatever you plan? If something just happens at that moment, you roll with it too.
Yeah,
you know, and that's to me where magic happens.
Well, like when you guys were doing the Hall of the Mountain King part, there's a lot of little like laughs he does through that song and stuff like that, right?
That's so fun to do.
Yeah, and I'm watching you do this, and because I know that album so well, I couldn't help myself. You know, that part would be coming up, I'm like, oh, let's see what she does here, you know, and you'd be like, ha ha. I was like, wow, man, she freaking does it. Like, wow, were those all like one take? You said you did it live, so that was all just the first time and everything.
We did it twice. And
they pieced it off from the 2 times. Is that what they did, or did they just use one?
One was just a little better than the other, and that was it.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Man.
You got to get the right amount of sweatiness.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. So you guys gig how often? How often would you say you guys are playing out? What's your? I mean, obviously you can't play out all the time. I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah, and it's always scheduling and logistics, and because multiple people are in multiple projects. I would say we're probably like 6-8 weeks, something like that.
About a month and a half, 2 months. You guys are good.
And then sometimes some things will string together if we get opportunities. You have a festival here or something going on here, but we always try to do our own show in Cleveland, like probably once every quarter. To try to do something really good and play with.
Just to remind everybody, hey, we're still here, like basically, right? You got to keep playing, right? I mean,
oh yeah, and it's fun too. Then when we do our own show and host it, that we get to bring in some of our friends from out of town.
Yeah, right. So, have you guys played out of state yet? I mean, have you guys? So, what were some places that you played?
Well, just a few weeks ago, we played the Metal Immortal Festival in Pittsburgh. That was a blast.
So great.
Some headliners coming down the line, just heroes. Raven put on just an amazing show at folks my pop's age, and I watched them sound check. I'm like, is that the road crew or is that the dudes? And they just lit it up and had a blast. And before that, architects of the death metal scene and that just heavy thrash, Deceased, just an amazing performance.
No kidding.
Oh my God! And I got turned on to Bat, which is some of the dudes in Municipal Waste. But Bat blew me away. I loved them.
So how many bands were there total about?
It was kind of a 2-day festival, and we played
2 stages. Yeah,
we played the Friday night. There was a pre-fest for us and 3 other bands. The big headliner that evening was a band called Eviction from Pittsburgh. They would actually, following along like your previous broadcast from Purgatory, we kind of had like that Cleveland core of just tremendous acts from Breaker to Shock Paris Destructor, Purgatory, Black Death. Well, Eviction was Pittsburgh's that in 1982, 84, 86. That was that. And that place was just rocking, just full butt to gut people around everywhere. It was just a great experience. And then we had 2 great acts from New York. I think one from New York City proper, and was Sahedrin, and one other act just kind of escaped me.
Yeah, but still. So you guys stayed there the whole weekend?
Yeah.
Do you guys get to? So when that happens, do you guys like? What is that? That's not like a. We're not talking about a full blown like Sonic Festival type thing here. This is a smaller kind of. What's it like? I mean, what's that like? Do you guys have a backstage where all the bands can like talk and that's apart from the crowd? Are you guys out there partying?
No, we're mixing it up. They set a great spread for us. They had some folks to help, but I mean, it's still doing the legwork. We're dragging equipment in and out, quick changeovers, running our own merchandise table. It's such a wonderful event, run by Miss Deb from Lady Beast. She's kind of the mastermind of that festival weekend, and the way that she has things organized, it's labor intensive, but it's also very gratifying because you're with folks all the time. I would say only maybe 10% of the people that were there Friday night were maybe carrying over to Saturday. So there were so many new folks to meet and to talk to.
New blood. I love new blood.
Yeah, and you guys can, and one of the things I'm trying to get at though is that you're meeting a lot of bands that, like you said, that are out of the state, right?
Yeah.
So, like we've had guys tell us that it's, one of the things they'll do is they'll hook up with these out of state bands, and then they'll play gigs. So they'll play one in, say, Montana, because they know this band in Montana, so they hook up with them, but then that band can come play here, and they'll just go they'll do like 4 cities because they know 4 bands in these 4 different cities.
That's right.
It's basically a tour. It's basically a tour. And they were saying, they're like, it's so much better when you're with this band, and they know where to eat. They know where to get what hotels to get. They know all that already. You're not trying to figure all this out. You have somebody that's already planted there, and that's the way to do it, right? I mean,
absolutely. And everybody helps everybody.
Yeah, it's got to be
in the underground, and when you're doing the tour runs, and we're lucky to be in Cleveland too, because there's such a radius that you can hit even just being a long weekend warrior if you wanted to.
Well, Cleveland still has a great metal scene.
Yeah,
it does.
Absolutely.
It's the music scene maybe not be like it once was back in like the 70s, 80s. It was really crazy here. But the metal scene here, I think the metal scene here is pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd stack it up next to anybody in my travels through education over the last 20 years. being from Ohio, moving to Florida, and basically moving up one state every 2 years, Cleveland was it for me. Once I was here, and anything you would want to listen to in this town, you can go and find. Whether it's metal, rock and roll, country, hip hop, there are cool things going on all the time. But man, the support that they get for original metal.
Yeah.
Living in Florida, playing in some bands down there, you couldn't get on stage. You couldn't get on stage unless you were playing Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, really.
Every bar has got the same set list. You know, you can learn the set list, and you can have a decent evening out. But that's not storytelling. That's not letting our hair down. That's not being us. And it only took the first night of going over a little bar. Right now it's called, I think, the Fun House. It was the Spitfire at the time. Just sweaty, loud rock and roll for the sake of just expression.
Yeah.
And after that show, I was like, all right, I'm kind of canceling all my travel plans. I'm a Clevelander now.
Awesome.
And I think, too, Cleveland has such a great metal scene, a large part in due to our college DJs. I mean, our college radio scene is amazing, and every genre, every type of metal they support. You got Bill Peters going on his 40th anniversary. 40 years. He has the longest running heavy metal show in the world.
I'm not showing up to empty rooms. Maybe 2017, 2018, 2019, the rooms were a little lean. Not anymore.
So you think it's coming back?
Yeah. I can't ever say that it would be. You know, I'm a little bit younger than some of the folks you've interviewed, so I can't tell you what it would have been like in 1986. I was still learning my shapes and numbers. But
the thing that drives me crazy is when someone's like, someone will just, give me a live stream, or they'll just do this. And why I appreciate having that technology for some people who can't get to a show, because I get it. Not everybody can for a lot of different reasons. But there is nothing like being there in person at a live show. It's not supposed to be exactly the same as the record. It's supposed to be live. It's supposed to have that energy, that magic, get sweaty with the crowd. Like you said, everybody's there and having a good time. So when people make that effort, it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. Now, Terry, how many shows did you go to last weekend? Because I always ask him, what are you up to this weekend? Like, when we don't have shows. Oh, my God, he was rattling off this list. I'm like, you're going to be in like three different shows in one day.
Last
I'll tell you what. Yeah. Before you answer that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to find out how many shows you went to. All right. When we come back.
You got to hear this.
With
Olathia.
It's great. When we come back.
My name is ZM Delgado, and I am the author of the Rust Belt Rock Review at ZachO'Lantern.com. And I am here courtesy of Level Up Cleveland to bring you a little concert calendar update. First off, Thursday, the 15th, at House of Blues Cleveland, we have the opportunity to check out legendary metal band Gwar. In support, they've got Light the Torch, Crowbot, and also Necrogoblicon. That is one I cannot wait for. Up next, Friday the 16th, at the Grog Shop, you're going to get to see Cleveland indie rockers Herzog. In support, they're bringing Knapsack and also Non-Bruises. And then Saturday the 17th, in Akron, at Vortex, we're going to be checking out I Rivera, Counting Gravestones, For Absent Friends, and Bonded by Darkness. There you have it, Cleveland. Some pretty awesome shows on the docket. I hope to see you out there. Until next time, I'm ZM Delgado. Thank you for watching Level Up Cleveland, and thank you for reading the Rust Belt Rock Review. Back to you, Brian.
We are back with Olathia, Chrissy, Terry. I do want to announce the two that weren't here. We have Dylan Andrus.
Yep.
And he's a guitar player.
Guitarist extraordinaire.
Joe Lowry plays drums.
He's a beast.
Weaponized percussion.
Yeah. Well, so about that, how does that work? I always wonder about that. A guy who plays drums like you, I mean, you're a really good drummer, and then you're playing a band as a bass player and stuff. Like, do you ever look at each other? I mean, like, you ever just watch him play drums? Like, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it that way.
I can't say that because it's art. That's his
Right.
interpretation of what's
I
going
know.
on in real time.
I understand that.
But
But in your head, without saying it out loud, has that ever happened?
yeah, we're
People are
screaming.
like, I wouldn't do it that way.
Joe.
But we're the kind of band too, though. If somebody's got an idea for someone, hey, could you try this? Let's just see how that. That's all cool to go back and forth with all that stuff. You know, it's open.
Yeah, and you guys have had a few members in the band. So is this like you feel good about the current group right now?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
I would say the free flow of ideas and communication has been the most natural that I've worked with, and I've worked with wonderful bands, wonderful players. You know, we mentioned that other group is very similar. This, for me, captures that essence of real-time interpretation of moods and feels. All we got to do is pick a key signature and kind of go.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then everything we do, you know, Chrissy kind of runs a little recorder for every jam we do.
Oh, great.
We get 2-3 weeks down the line, and we'll get emails. Like, what's these 8 emails? Well, those are the 8 different ideas that we rolled through in real time, and then we get to pick through. Well, that's the one we're gonna latch on that.
Oh,
and
cool.
we grab it, and then that kind of is the building blocks, the brand new clay for the new material.
Cool. Okay. Now, before we went on break, we were gonna find out what shows Terry was gonna go see, and I don't want to forget about that.
Well,
we gotta find out.
I guess it kind of goes back to what I was saying, but this, for me, this is the fun part about playing music. So I've got this wonderful project with Chrissy, with Dylan, with Joe. I've got the Bessemer Saints project. I also, Chrissy and I are both in a tribute act that
Really?
we do tribute act called First Snow, and we do Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
And that really ties in hard and heavy with the Sabotage presentation.
Yeah,
and
it's
what you're
very
doing.
hard and heavy.
For sure. Rolling back through that, I go back to last weekend. Our bass player Brian in First Snow, his tribute act to the Foo Fighters called Back and Forth was playing the Mercury Music Lounge. Mm-hmm. So I stopped over there for a beverage and a hangout. From there, moved over to a place called No Class, where just world-class death metal show was going on with my pals in Limb Splitter. A few other bands. I do believe Sarcophagus was on the bill. Just really cool.
Sarcophagus, we just had him on, the drummer. We just had him on here last week or 2 weeks ago. Or
Sweet.
So bumping into
Ray Condi.
That's it, and just killer show. And to find really loud, thumpy music there, there's no other flavor like that. I'm not good for it all night, but I love it for an hour. You know, it's just got to be there.
Right.
Rolling over to a great event on Saturday. Went out to the Mentor Civic Auditorium that our pals Michelle in a band called Invincible. Michelle sings with us in First Snow, but she's got a Pat Benatar tribute that is just top flight. Matter of fact, they just played for 12,000 people.
She's doing Pat Benatar?
Yeah, in a high level.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they just played for $12K at what is that, Rock on the River last night.
Oh.
I just saw the pictures, just miles of people.
Yeah, that's a cool place.
We saw him. We were there last night. It was
Very cool.
Oh, you went?
Oh yeah, and she's beautiful. We met some friends for dinner, and we got to catch some of her a little bit too. So
That's a tall order, Pat Benatar. She's no joke.
And it was a great show, but that show ended when the lights come on. So when the lights come on, I boogied down to the grog shop to catch Dylan's Assault gig. Assault just dropped their brand new record, A Blind Eye. It is monstrous.
Yeah, I've heard it.
It hasn't left the truck.
and the show was insane.
Yeah.
With the mosh pit and everybody.
Yeah, well, they're. I mean,
so great.
There's not a lot of bands right now coming up like them. They're storming through.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of bands to me, even though I'm a little younger, I'm also a little older, and things kind of are sore and they hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But their band is inspiring, and it is inspiring to move your body and experience that music in real time. And quite frankly, I don't feel the way I feel for any other band other than maybe what we do with what I see they're do. And it's infectious. And I broke my CD in the pit because what else are you going to do?
Yeah, we had the author ZM Delgado. He does the Rust Belt Rock Review, and he just loves Assault. He flies their flag, and that's all he talks about. So, and you had the shirt on last time you were here.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant music, and
It's coming out. Yeah, it's big.
It's young folks, and they're working it.
That's what I like. See, I like the young guys when I see young people coming up and doing something big like that, where it's like finally someone we could pass something to and be like, all right, we're all getting older. Somebody's got to do this in 10 years.
Well, and just to have that, ferociousness to do the original music too.
Oh, yeah.
To be original and to do that, that is inspiring. It's awesome. That's why I do it. That's just.
Well, you guys are a very relevant band in the city.
He's got more shows he went to.
You're not done?
He's not done yet.
Wait a minute.
Because, and I didn't want to leave this out because this is amazing too.
God.
So Sunday evening, we took the road trip down to Youngstown, a place called the West Side Bowl. My pal Juan Ricardo, he was here on the program.
Yeah.
He's got his group back in the saddle, Attacks. And I had 2 Attacks vinyls that I picked up over the years. Well, they've got the live crew now. They've got the original guitar player, the original drummer.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, original bass player. I got the chance to meet those guys, Ray and, forgetting the other. But our pal Drew Sodi, who was the drummer in First Snow, is now the new Attacks drummer. So getting a chance to go down there and visit them, as well as a band called Loud Hailer, just getting up and running. That Daniel Butch, he's been a vocalist in the Youngstown area for forever. Great bands, Haymaker. He's got an Edward Be Thy Name. His band Stage of Dreams just went over to L.A. So I got a chance to hang out with all those pals. And one more show, there was Black Spirit Crown playing in the basement of that event. It's just, there's people everywhere.
So when you show up to a gig, do these bands know that you're not going to see you for very long because you got another 17 gigs to go to? I mean, are you hopping? Like, are you like
It is,
an hour here, hour there? Is that basically what you're doing?
To be honest, it's not the norm. Normally, I like to go and hang out, but this was just kind of
this was
a see all your pals weekend because we are about ready to get very busy.
Oh, really?
So
you guys feel, well, it's the last time I get to see you, let you guys come out and see us.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
They will, and now they'll be prone to because they saw you at their show, right?
There's a little bit of give and take.
A little back and forth.
And but more so than that, it was a blast. It's a busy weekend, but it was over in a blink of an eye. I got a chance to hang out with all my pals and hear great music and spend time with the people I care about the most. So it was wonderful.
Awesome.
So if anybody ever wants like a show itinerary, you just hit up Terry and be like, what are you doing this weekend? Because I'm going to follow you.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? I got to find out what I'm doing this weekend. Let's call Terry. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'll go to that one. Nah, I'm not going to those 3. I'll go to that one.
I got a couple pals like that.
That's cool, man.
That is cool. That is cool.
That's cool. But what I was getting to before was like, you guys are very relevant. Right, I think that's an important word. I think relevant because like you guys can sit there and say like you guys know all these bands, you guys know them well, and nobody says anything bad about you guys, right? You guys are not you're not that band. You're not that band that's some people seem to like, and you're not. Everyone seems to like you guys. Everybody I talk to, everybody I know, our one friend Tasio, I think he comes to every one of your guys' shows.
I love him.
Yeah, Tass. We grew up with Tass. We were in a band with Tass.
I call him Dimples. Hi, Dimples. Hi, T.
I think he's at every show. I don't think he misses one.
He's really good.
Isn't he awesome?
Yeah,
we know Tasio since forever, since kids.
He is.
But how does that? I mean, isn't that part of like the success feeling of the whole thing when you have serious camaraderie with all these other world class? I know you love to use this phrase, world class musicians. Though they are. I mean, like we talk about this all the time about the Cleveland scene. These musicians here are better. Not all, but there's a number are better than these national acts musicians. There's so many here you can go see for $5, $10, no dollars all the time. And if you don't get the same, the only difference is that the guy's not on some TV show or doing some reality show. That's the only difference between the national acts and these local acts. You can see great stuff.
I feel Cleveland is a heavy metal Nashville, where you just have this musicianship and you can see people at all different things. Yeah, I agree with you. There is amazing talent and it's fun to see that.
With all that going on, the way to make any kind of money doing this anymore is merch, right? I mean, like you got to, and everybody's kind of got their own merch. So now you have to like separate your merch from other people's merch, right? I mean, like you got to have something. You can't just put out a CD anymore and think that's going to be enough anymore. You got to have a whole fucking pack of stuff.
That's a spell book. That's
you guys have done.
pages.
Yeah, you guys have done some stuff here. When you came in, and I saw some, I'm like, who does that? So the merch game. You guys are pretty savvy with the merch game, right? I mean, would you agree?
Merch is fun. Merch does separate you, but for me, the thought about merch is always, when I would go to a concert, you know, and I'd get like a tour program or something cool or whatever, like that was my thing to take home, and a tangible item that was a forever memory for me of that time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how I look at it, that it's part of the experience in the package. And, you know, there's some things that you can get at our merch table that you can't get online purposefully.
Yeah.
You know, if you're at the show, we appreciate you, you know, so get some extra stuff here. But yes, it's what helps fund the things that we do, and we appreciate people who pick up our merch wherever they can or online, whatever. But the thought of it is about an experience and something fun, and what else can you do next?
Yeah.
You know, we already got some fun stuff cooking for next.
Well, who designs all the
days.
merch? Just you, or does you all kind of like take a part in designing merch? Because isn't that like part of this band shit now? You got to like instead of just coming to the band practice with a riff, sometimes you got to come with a T-shirt idea and be like, dude, I just saw this shirt, and is that how it works, or what?
I would say Chrissy's by far the inspiration for just about everything that you see.
Yeah.
And it's cool that she does funnel it through us sometimes, because the ideas that we get to see are on like napkins. They're
Oh my gosh,
there's mascara on a
my
napkin.
crew drawings. Yeah, I'm like, I got this idea, guys. Let me draw it for you. Stick figures.
Awesome though.
But not only that, it's to me, kind of coming into a project like this, working with somebody that has both vision and motivation, because it's almost, you need both.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you can have wonderful ideas, but if you don't have the gumption to go do it, then nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
There's some folks that are all go and no creativity, substancy kind of things.
Well-
and they got lots of stuff, but it all kind of looks the same. So it's,
Yes.
you know, Chrissy's just got this wonderful balance of vision and inspiration. And then we start talking about, well, connections, people that you've worked with. We've got a fellow that's just
He's our fifth member of the band.
He's a wonderful person, great friend, but a visionary artist. And what you see in some of these
Absolutely.
pieces,
What's his name?
his name is Matt Moser, and he runs Moser Photo Works, and he is just
So you got that going for you.
You got to interview him. He's
Yeah.
he's crazy and creative. Yeah.
and he and Chrissy, I think, have a way of communicating what is hard to communicate. Sometimes you can't get out in words what this is supposed to look like.
I understand.
But he can take that inspiration and then feed you back something.
Fleshes out something that you come from here,
Yeah.
and he understands what you're saying. Actually,
Exactly.
somehow.
And that's what you see with these pieces. That's what you see. And in both the abstract creativity and just a core capturing a moment and an image. The cover of our Sabotage tribute is our amps on stage. It looks cool and looks like that because of his vision with the lighting and
Yeah, I
everything.
can see that. You can see that. Yeah, but it looks cool.
But there's what I want to say, that there's not a lot of, to me, that's art and a little less magic. The booklet is a little bit of both, a little bit
Well,
more
there's a little magic in there.
I
If someone
got
gets a
it.
hold of that, they get a little something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say that's an amazing little package you guys got here, and like, you know, and I think this is what else you guys are doing, these festivals and stuff like that, where they have these merch tables that are just fucking. You got 10 bands worth of stuff right there. You gotta. How do you know what to buy? Right, you buy the one that looks different or it's unique in some way, and you have to stand out. Yeah, you can't only just be the best band. You got to have the best merch.
Well, with this spell book we did, it was, the thought about it was to have, because we talked about storytelling before, we're very much about storytelling, is to have each song be told visually. And the hopes were that you would put the CD on or your stream, whatever you listen to it, and go through it page by page with each song. And miraculously, even this time where you can switch a song in 10 seconds in, we've had so many people write us and say, I put the CD in and I started on the book and I went through the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like addictive. It sounds
And I
like.
listened to it, and the way Matt designed it, and what's really cool about Matt, our fifth member, is he is a creative process of the band too. So yeah, there'll be a lot of ideas that I have, but there's a lot of ideas that guys have too. And you know, we'll hash it out or flush it out, or like, yeah, that sounds cool, do whatever you want, you know. And then I'll have an outline, because what I don't want to do to another creative person is say, hey, here's exactly what I want line by line. This color, no, wait.
You're the artist.
You need to give that person the opportunity to put their creative stamp on it.
Absolutely.
So we'll have these ideas, and sometimes it is a really crude sketch on a napkin. Like that cover was a very bad sketch on a napkin.
Oh, you sketched that out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and then you let that artist see what they feel about it. And Matt listens to the music and gets inspiration from things too. And then what he comes up with is always well above what my brain even thought of.
Well, that's why you work with this cat,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like,
And
versus somebody else.
Yeah, and he loves it too because he's like, he's a graphic artist for a living, and he does a lot of cool stuff. But he's like, this, I get to do something that I want to do, and he's got free reign. He knows that.
That's awesome.
And sometimes he'll tell me, I want to do something else than what you're thinking of, Chrissy. I'm going to try this idea. Go for it, And we have a really good synergy. But this particular spell book, we also had an artist from Spain. He did the front and the back cover. And on the back, that's me with my tongue sticking out that he created me.
Really? As Medusa?
Yes.
Oh, that is so wild.
So, but you're going to love it when you get to dive into that.
Well,
it is a fun trip.
Like, I'll tell you what, first thing I thought of when I saw this, and it was like, I used to collect vinyl. We all did at one point. And I'm more of a digital guy now. I'm not that guy that's going to sit there and go vinyl. I mean, whatever. But there's one thing about vinyl I do miss, and that's the album cover.
Yeah.
Okay, like you can't get that no more. Like a CD, cassettes, they were like the album cover, right? How many times did you, before video, before all that, you would, I don't know, you guys might be a lot younger than me, I don't know. But before, you had an album, and you would stare at it.
Yep.
That's what you did. You would just stare, and you got all this cool imagery. So I can see it's bigger. You could watch this, look at this while you're listening to music, and then there's stuff to do inside, like an album. Then you'd pull the sleeve out, and you'd be reading the sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you've been able to bring it back. You still have the CD, the digital, but you also get the stuff.
It's immersive.
Yeah.
And there's just so many things in the artwork that all of Matt did throughout it that you're not going to catch it all the first go around. You're going to want to dig in again.
Cool. I think the imagery, I don't think you can add enough imagery to music anymore. I think people have to look at something and hear it together almost. It's the way it is.
And the printed thing too, like, I don't think I could ever release music without having a printed item with it, because there's that sacred spot where you get to write people's names and thank them.
Yeah.
And like, I could never be a band that like sells that spot. Hey, your name could be on there for $5. No way. It just does not work in my mind. That does not comprehend.
Right. Well, it's so cool when you get to put the names of the people that you're friends with that have helped you and stuff. It's like, that's another camaraderie thing and like you said, not all bands believe in that.
We don't do what we do without the help of everybody else. And even our roadie Hunter, he's amazing. And he's so helpful to us. And, people help us at our merch table, Tree, and other people that pitch in. Like, it takes a small metal family to get any show going. So you guys actually do have more than just the Sabotage thing out there. That's all we've really talked about so far, but there's a couple other things out there. 2015, you did one called Hunters. We did.
2019, you did Snake Charmer.
Yep, which is the spell book right there.
See, this is cool. And that's your face with the snakes on there like Medusa, man. I got to tell you, this is...
And my tongue really is that long, just so you know.
that tongue is proportional. You got a point like that on the end of it, too? You can poke someone's eye out with that thing.
I wasn't on board for Hunters. I came on board. As a matter of fact, it just kind of rolled through June of 2017. So I came on board.
How did that happen? How did you become...
I was fortunate enough to be a fan first. And a fan with a couple of other background connections. So a little bit earlier, Chrissy mentioned the project that she was in just before Olathia got cooking, Cellbound. Cellbound had a bass player. His name was Greg. And Greg ended up in a band that I had followed around a lot. He had to leave that band for life stuff. I stepped into that band. But getting a chance of, let me read Greg's stuff. Well, this is really cool. And then I was at, I want to say maybe one of Bill Peters' food drives. And Olathia was on the stage, and the whole product, the sound, the look, the feel, and you mentioned that engagement, that eye contact.
And the cool factor, yeah, right?
I mean, I was like, well, that's that's my
Guys are
band.
making me blush.
Yeah. So it was super cool, and getting a chance to be that front row fan for 2 or 3 years, and with life things happening, people kind of coming and going. I had the opportunity for, she asked for an audition for filling in for certain things, and in 3 weeks we were on stage in Mansfield at the time it was called Ink and the Clink.
Yeah.
Now it's Incarceration.
Yeah, right.
So that was the step out onto the stage, and consequently the retirement of the Mark I of Olathia. So then Chrissy and I kind of started the journey about, well, we've still got, I just got in the band. I just got in the band that I like the most. We can't let this flop out.
Yeah, right.
We've got tracks that are going for the album. These are still great tracks. Maybe we could do something else. So the recruitment process began, and the recruitment process for drums and guitars. So but even though what was, and as a matter of fact, my audition was in this building downstairs.
No kidding.
Yeah, we used
right.
to jam here in the early days.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And
Now we're in a milk factory.
yeah.
Probably bigger. Probably a little bigger than this and probably cooler.
A little cooler. A lot cooler. But no, getting a chance to follow that process led us to the lineup that you hear on Snake Charmer, what allowed us to put that together. And Joe Lowry helped us on drums. We also had Brian Donahue, we had CJ Langmack, and we had Matt Gerald. Oh. And at the time it was a good fit. But man, life comes at you quick. Mm-hmm. Life comes at you, opportunities come at you, and it's hard. We do what we do because we love it, and we couldn't imagine doing anything of it.
Right.
But it's still time and effort, and it's time away from the folks we care about, and you gotta want to do it even when you don't want to do it. And
it's a job at some points. It's not always fun. There's parts of it where you got to grind through it, and that's the way it goes. I mean, it's just, and I think those are the people who make it to 10, 20-year careers in music, or even if it's a hobby or whatever you're doing it. If you make it that long, it's because you were willing to do the grinding, and you were willing to do the parts that weren't always that fun. So people just peter out when the fun goes away for a little while. They're like, I'm done,
A little bit. But, you get around the right people long enough, and then it's just all fun. So,
well, I think, yeah.
Going to be celebrating Bill Peters' 40th anniversary as a heavy metal DJ. And he put together a killer 2-day festival at Maple Grove with Night Demon coming in from California. And then we're playing on Friday with Resistance, who's also in California. And then on Saturday, Vandalus is performing, and Lady Beast from Pittsburgh with Night Demon. And Night Demon's doing different sets each night. It's just going to be an amazing weekend.
When's that, September 30th?
So we got September 30th, October 1st, Friday, Saturday night, Maple Grove and Maple Heights. And it is just so wild to do 2 headlining sets and not repeat a track. And especially when you travel all the way around the world, and you've got like those 3 to 4 or 5. It's like Motorhead not doing an ace of spades.
That's your ace. That's just funny you use that, because I've seen Lord Lemmy quotes a lot of people. It's like, you got to play that song, man. That's your ace of fucking spades.
That's it.
That's great. So this is a 2-night festival at the Maple Grove. So obviously there's no camping type festival at this one. It's a big parking lot. I guess you could throw a tent up in there.
I'm gonna ask Nick. Maybe
maybe Nick has got.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maple Grove's great. And yeah, it's a great place to see a band. It's not always the greatest place to play if you got to lug your equipment up them stairs, but it's still a fun place to play.
The stairs are wide though.
We've played there. Yeah. No, it's. I'm just kidding. That's just the joke because it's a blast to play at Maple Grove.
Sure.
Yeah.
It is. They got a good sound system. The whole bit. It's nice, and you got a bar. Right there. It's like right there, man. It's just the best. I loved it.
Yeah.
So Bill threw this. Is he doing this? Bill Peters, you're saying? He's throwing the whole thing?
Bill is he is the creator of the Shindig and making everybody come together. And they're also going to be accepting donations for animal shelters for this show as well, too, which is super cool. And, of course, Nick from the Maple Grove has been really instrumental in pulling this all together, too.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It seems like Bill doesn't do anything without some kind of little benefit attached to it, like for somebody, right? He's always got to benefit somebody to help somebody with something, always, right?
I mean, that's his heart.
It does. He is.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool about him. You know what I mean? He doesn't take much credit for a lot of things. He just kind of like always putting other bands out there. He's always trying to promote, and then he does stuff like this also. it takes a lot of time and effort to do this kind of thing, you know?
It does. He's very humble, very helpful, and very kick-ass.
Yeah, man. Again, a big reason why I think the metal scene here.
Absolutely. Oh, Bill Peters spearheads a lot of things. And then, you know, you have Jay Stone doing his thing on WRUW, and just the metal community in Cleveland. I mean, we could do a whole program just talking about all the great DJs and all the different programming and everything that they do. It's fabulous.
Yeah. So, Chrissy, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You get in your car.
Yeah.
What's playing in your car right now today? What would you put on? I mean, it's not so CDs anymore, but I mean, yeah, seriously. Like, what are you listening to?
So when I put in my car, I think I was listening to Death Angel last.
Which album? Which Death Angel album?
I just did like Spotify. And
I just
doing
had like the whole
on it because I love Death Angel.
Yeah, me too, they're great.
And then I was listening to Dolly Parton too.
Oh,
yeah, because I'm a big fan
real
of
close.
her songwriting. Yeah, real close. Although I did see a picture of Dolly and Rob Zombie once that I thought was really cool. Everybody loves Dolly. So I listened to a ton of different stuff, but Death Angel is probably what I had last. And then I really want to listen to Monomarth. I've just been thinking about them recently. So
you just stick with metal. Are you strictly metal, or do you go outside metal? I mean, you ever put on a Led Zeppelin song and be like,
oh yeah,
you like Zeppelin still and everything like that?
I love Zeppelin. I love Early Rainbow too.
Oh, Dio stuff.
Oh my God, anything with Dio, I love. Vivian Campbell is one of my all-time favorite guitarists.
No kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. Love Dio, love Black Sabbath. I mean, that's where I grew up listening to all that stuff with my sisters, and I love things too that have a whole blues aspect to it as well too.
Like Black Sabbath and stuff
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, and I've been told that too, that, you know, I'm a metal singer, I can do thrash, I can do this, but there's some blues in there too. There's different things that happen. So I just go wherever the song takes me and just have fun with it.
So the reason I'm saying is because this whole Sabotage thing, you guys, it's just so interesting to me. Okay, did you guys have to get permission to do this stuff too? Do you guys have to go and ask these guys if you can do this stuff?
You get a license online to do a cover song.
But you get a license online to do any cover song, or do they have to approve that stuff?
So there's different places you go to obtain a license to do a cover song, and as long as the artist or their management has already approved it, they can get that.
So that's what I mean. There's already pre-approved,
right.
They don't care type thing.
You tell them what you want to do, and it comes back. Yep, you can do it. Tell us how many copies. Here's how much you got to pay, or you get a no that you shouldn't do it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So
now YouTube is different though. So
YouTube we know about.
Yeah. YouTube
restriction.
You just throw it. Well, here's what happens on YouTube. You throw it up on there, and then if they see that it's good and people like it, they will let it go. But then they're going to put commercials on your stuff so that they can profit from the commercials.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. I mean, just fun to get it out there, and we're really about doing videos now too. I mean, I think it's a really interesting format, and because we like being storytellers, there's more of that coming in our future.
That new video you guys just put out is pretty cool.
Thank you.
I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
I was engaged.
Good. That's the idea. Well, and it gets to be a second creative level too. You know, you've done the music, you've done the story, and even in this case, it's a cover. But how do we want to present that? You know, and like the video we did for Believe, we got to shoot that at the Variety Theater, which has a crazy history.
How did you guys do that?
Everything
was this after she bought it or before?
No, this was before. This was before.
Oh.
We actually were going to do it at a different venue. Things fell through, and we were scrambling last minute, and we got connected with the Variety Theater there with Patrick, you know, who, God rest his soul, he's passed on now, who was the caretaker of the Variety Theater, and called him and pitched the idea. And it was literally like that weekend it needed to happen because we had all of the players in place and our video people. And there was a big crew to do this because we had to shoot it all in one day. And he said, absolutely, I will help you guys and you could do it here. And he goes, and you know what? The marquee says Believe already. He goes, I've had that up there just as a thing for the community to help them feel like good about something. And I was like, what? And he was amazing. And we got to go in there and he introduced us to all the ghosts that are in there. And, you know, there's no running water, limited electricity. We had to bring in a generator and we had a huge crew. And I don't know, I think we were there like 16 hours, you know, and just, it was an amazing experience.
Hell yeah. Whatever fell through, it wasn't the Variety, I'll tell you right now. That's so cool.
It wasn't.
That was such a better...
Things go how they're supposed to go, and you never worry if something doesn't work out because it's directing you in where you should go.
Yeah, and now that woman, I can't think of her name, Shelly something, just bought the Variety, and she's talking about restoring it, and she's going to bring back the bands and stuff.
I'm amazed, and I love it. And it is such a solid structure and such history, and the sound in there, oh my gosh. We were like clapping our hands and playing some music, and just the way that it went through there.
The natural amplification, reverb in that room is still,
the coolest place.
Still incredible.
Me and Pat grew up not too far from the Variety, and yeah, I mean, I've seen movies in the Variety. I've seen Bruce Lee movies in the Variety, Enter the Dragon and stuff like that.
Oh,
when we were kids, we'd go watch them there. I remember when Metallica played there with freaking
I remember
Metallica
when the ceiling came down.
Wasp. That was Motorhead.
Yep.
That's the most famous one.
Yeah.
We were like, I wonder if she can reenact that when the band started. We need to get some kind of like Motorhead tribute band in here.
Actually, when we got in to start the day with our video, Hunter, our roadie, had his big boo bops. He goes, before we do anything, we got to play a Motorhead song.
That's great.
And so we did, and just cranked it up in there.
Hell yes, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited about that reopening. I hope they do that right, and they get bands back in there, and because that's really who played there was the metal bands. I remember the Gods played at the Variety.
Yeah.
Slayer, Venom, Exodus was at the Variety Theater. That was when Exodus just came out. Yeah, that's like sitting at the Grand Ole Opry on stage for metal people. I think
that's
the Variety.
Cool. That's cool. But videos, it is something necessary nowadays, and it's almost like, is this now the equivalent of holding an album? Where,
I think so.
Where you can look at something and it pulls you in, and it's just fun to do, and like you just think of whatever idea like. We have more videos coming in our future because we're working on our next album, and that'll probably be out, I don't know, sometime early next year or something like that.
You guys already got songs written and everything for it?
Yeah.
Are you guys already that far into it?
Yeah, we're actually almost through the tracking stage now. Just a little bit more to iron on it, and then.
So no resting on your laurels. You guys are like right back in. Just keep going, man.
It's the next round of stories.
That's the fun part.
Awesome way of putting it, man. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know we have 2 videos in mind already, and I will tell you, I'll give you guys a little scoop on one. It involves a giant bong, a human bong. It's like a person who's a bong.
Oh, I know people like that.
It's for the song called Shotgun. And
it just keeps getting better. That's great.
It's going to be a fun video.
Do you guys have the bong already, or you're in the process of making the bong for the video?
I met the bong at a Halloween party a couple years ago, and this gal, she had made her own bong costume, and then you could actually smoke her too. She had this thing.
Oh my God, that's
I'll have to show you a video, but she was so funny, and she had all these great one-liners, and she's like, don't ever marry a bong because we get passed around, and she was awesome. So we have.
So you're gonna hire the bong?
Oh, the bong, yeah. I already told her, don't ever get rid of that costume. You're gonna be in a video with us. So
that's really cool. I love that idea.
It is cool. So that's a fun one, and then we have another dark one that we're gonna do for our Forest Witch song and some other things. So it is fun. It is like, I think, the album equivalent.
You got to bring, especially with Sabotage. There's a lot of his vocals on that. Are so unique. They always were.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you even do that high thing he does. You were even doing that part, right? And that was one of the moments I'm like, all right, here it comes. Let's see what she does. And you're like, you're doing that, I'm like, wow.
I remember
man.
Noah too. He told me, he goes, you hit that high part. I go, yes.
Yeah, I was so
I've been working on it,
But he did a lot of that stuff, man. God, I remember so much about Sabotage growing up, man. And you got a really solid band too. As a singer,
oh my God, they're
amazing.
That's
that's so huge because as a singer, you can do whatever it is you want to do, and everything else is just taken care of. You're never worried about whatever. Those guys are there, and you're not playing music that's easy to play. I mean, you guys are doing this with some intricate stuff.
There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of trust and preparation. The cool show happens in the sweaty room and rehearsal space over and over again.
Right.
And that only happens when you show up prepped and ready to go, and those kind of things. For us, it's the art and the passion, but it's not the profession. We all have jobs, we all have lives and families, and our time that we get to prepare for a show is limited and precious. But we do the most we can with it, so that when you see that product on stage, it's at the highest level that we can deliver it. And it's absolutely about trust, and to be in that moment, I can know that anywhere I put my fingers is going to be right where Joe's feet are, because they're just always there.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
You have a really good way of putting things sometimes. You ought to put a little book out of, so like your,
bullism.
what are they called? Soliloquies or something like that? Where whatever. Yeah, bullisms.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that.
Oh
yeah, you got a
God.
great way of putting things. I mean, seriously, you have a way of describing things, and like, yeah, it's like, well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. I never thought of it that way, but that's perfect. Yeah, that's cool. And that's the other thing about being a band. You gotta have cool people in your band. A band could be successful if you don't all get along. It can happen. It takes a lot more patience with people. But when you can get along with everybody, and everybody you guys really seem happy. You guys, I think that's one of the telltale signs when everyone's getting along. When you're talking to the one or two of the people in the band, and they just, oh yeah, and then this and that and everything, it's like, well, everything seems like it's pretty good here. And I think I get that vibe from you guys, right? I mean,
I love these guys, and I'm so happy we're all together. And they make me a better musician too, with how open it is and the trust that we have, and that's awesome, because you always want to grow, and keep exploring things and go wherever the music takes you.
So, you guys, do you think the new thing will be done? When will we hear? When will we see the new CD about? I mean, I know you don't know.
It's going to be next year, but you might hear some snippets towards the end of the year.
A little bit.
But if you come to our live show, you're already hearing some of the tunes.
Oh, you guys are already playing them live.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right,
You can't keep that stuff bottled up, man.
No,
you gotta let it go when you got the new songs.
And think about how much better the song's going to be on the recording if you've hashed it out live. You can't get any more better practice than the live practice.
Well,
right?
and then it's crazy because people already know the words to some of the songs.
That's cool, though. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
So try to get out there September 30th at Maple Grove. You get to hear some of the new stuff.
Yep.
And they're playing with Night Demon.
Night Demon and Resistance. And this is a 2-night event.
Yes.
You'll see it. It's a Friday and a Saturday. 30th is a Friday, and that's when you guys are playing.
Yes. Saturday
the 31st. Is it a 31st or is it a 1st? I don't know that much.
October 1st. That one's going.
I gotta do this.
Yeah, I was just gonna do the stupid knuckles thing.
What do you mean? It's not stupid if it works.
It does work.
That's great. Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, that's it. We have no more time. We're all out of time, but I love having you guys on. This was a blast.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having us and for all the support you do for all musicians in Cleveland and throughout. We appreciate you guys.
Awesome, man. Check them out. September 30th, Maple Grove.
Yeah.
That's all we got time for, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Right on.
Bye.
That'll be fine.